Good evening. It's March 28th, Friday, 2025. It's my honor and pleasure to speaking with the World War II humble hero.
Humble hero. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Humble hero. The reason why we termed it the humble hero because we never knew Mr. Jeckovich was in combat during World War II. The guys on the front line don't talk. It's generally the guys in the rear echelon that do all the talking.
Yeah.
So, how are you doing today, Mr. Jeckovich?
Good. I'm very good. Very good.
All right. I heard you had a nice visitor today.
Oh yeah.
Who'd you have?
Amber.
Yeah. What did you two do?
What did we do? I took her to lunch.
Oh yeah.
Then she had to leave then.
Yeah. She's at Bible studies today.
Yeah.
Amber is Mr. Jeckovich's great-granddaughter. Excuse me. Yeah, great-granddaughter. And Amber is a full-time missionary and also a full-time surfer. She doesn't live right around the corner. She lives on the ocean down the road. And she tries to come 4 or 5 times a week to visit her great-grandfather. Amber's traveled all around the world. There's not a country she hasn't been surfing in. And she really enjoys surfing and also Bible studies and being a full-time missionary. So that's all good news. It restores your faith in young people today. And it's happy to hear a 20-year-old is so organized and settled in life and they're serving the Lord. So did you have a nice time with Amber then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to talk about, we're in the 3rd week of Lent. Mr. Jeckovich is a Roman Catholic. He was raised Catholic. His mother, Anna Target Jeckovich, was a Catholic. And she was a devout Catholic, and she prayed for Mr. Jeckovich's safety from World War II. And he did make it back alive. He was shot up a lot, but he did make it back alive. So, let me get my materials ready. I'll need your dog tag number to open up the book.
420965.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, the 2nd Battalion, the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. Today is a gift. So, we're going to pick up, we're starting the book for the 2nd time around, and we're on chapter 3, going into chapter 4, and this is when Mr. Jeckovich is in the Army training base in north of Owensboro, Kentucky. It's actually, title is Indiana. 1 minute, please. Never mind. And so this is the, we're into the 3rd week of Lent. This is Friday. And it's a very interesting day about Friday. Mr. Jeckovich and many other Roman Catholics, they don't eat meat on Friday. But there's a very interesting story that Mr. Jeckovich told me some time ago about a very common thing that everyone knows, McDonald's. And it's titled Winner, Winner, Fish Dinner. Back in the early 1960s, the owner of a McDonald's in Cincinnati, Ohio, had a big problem. Lou Grown was his restaurant was in a Catholic neighborhood, and noticed the sales dropped every Friday. Hamburger sales dropped to nothing in Catholic neighborhoods every Friday, because even outside of Lent, Catholics don't eat meat on Friday. Because many of his customers did not eat meat that day. His solution was serve fish sandwiches. And now here's where it gets interesting, and here is how it carries on almost 70 years later. After trying different kinds of fish, he found that a breaded cod patty worked best. He added American cheese, tartar sauce, and put it on a steamed bun. Confident in his new sandwich, grown convinced executives at McDonald's to test it out. Meanwhile, McDonald's founder, Ray Kroc, had his own idea for Fridays. He called it the Hula Burger. It consisted, what would you think of this, Mr. Jeckovich? It consisted of a slice of pineapple with cheese on a bun. How would you like that? That's what I say.
Well, you got that device?
That's what Ray Kroc came up with, while the other fellow came up with a fish sandwich. So they decided to sell both sandwiches on Friday and see what came out on top. The fish sandwich was a clear winner by a margin of 350 to 6.
Oh boy.
So that pineapple sandwich didn't work out too well. In 1965, McDonald's executives added the Filet-O-Fish to their menus nationwide. I'm sure all the listeners had some for the years. It was the first item added to the original menu and quickly became popular with the customers, especially during Lent. By some estimates, McDonald's currently sells about 300 million fish sandwiches a year.
Oh boy.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
All that came from Lent. What a beautiful thing. So this is Mr. Jeckovich when he's in the last basic training before he gets shipped out. And we're on chapter 4, and it's on passes to Owensboro. Before I open up the laptop, Mr. Jeckovich, I'll need your dog tag.
42965.
Okay, great. That opens me up and allows me to read. This is passes to Owensboro, the first passes. Our only contact with the executive officer, Lieutenant Cummings, was we had a problem with their paperwork, such as insurance allotment and emergency furlough. How was Lieutenant Cummings?
Lieutenant Cummings?
Yeah. How was he?
Well, I didn't know him too well, no.
He just handled your paperwork.
Yeah.
Sergeant
Stayed in the
Whalen.
office all the time.
How was Sergeant Whalen?
Whalen was an old timer.
Okay, was also absent from the scene most of the time. Our only contact with him was through our visits to the orderly room on company business. As with the majority of the officers, Sergeant Whalen at all times makes an appearance at retreat or rarely any training exercises. Our only contact with him on a social basis was a visit by him to the PX, as was usually the case. He did not know most of us personally. How was Sergeant Rubert?
He's an old timer, old guy.
Sergeant Rubert was also in this category. He would never accompany us on hikes or field problems. He also never gave us lectures. On any issue, instructions per se. His wit and charm made up for the other inadequacies. It was not unusual for him to stroll through the barracks after the retreat and converse with the troops on a one-to-one basis. He would tell tall tales at times, but his past American Army experience and the places and events he had witnessed while in the service. Sergeant Rupert had been in World War I. Wow, so he must have been a really old time.
Yeah.
And served overseas in France as an infantryman. He had seen some action, and after the war decided to stay in the regular army. Never having been married, he'd done considerable traveling while serving his country, and he had been stationed at every army installation at least once, including the ones overseas. So he got around.
Yeah.
Wow. We wondered what decision would be made about him relative to shipping out with us, since he was considered up in age. We relished his company and his good, sound advice about the Army and life in general. Sergeant Baker, how was Sergeant Baker?
An old guy from southerner, yeah.
Sergeant Baker had been in the Army a little over 2 years, having been drafted at the age of 18. He had not done much formal education. He did not have much formal education, but took his limited duties quite seriously, as well as his stripes. After retreat, he would mostly stay in his room on the second floor of the barracks, which he shared with several squad leaders. He did not give many lectures, and the few he did give were disasters. It made you uneasy to listen to him. Not one got anything out of them. He was associated with another sergeant, a Sergeant Bronson. How was Sergeant Bronson?
He was a young guy, yeah.
From the 2nd Platoon, and like him, a product of one of the southern states. Most of all joined the 75th Infantry while in maneuvers in Louisiana, as was the case of the men from the Air Corps and the ASTP. As with the 106th at Swift, this unit had been under strength with enlisted men. Consequently, they brought up the strength with enlisted men from our other units, namely Air Corps ASTP, and unattached sectors. I do not know how the officers were selected, but if future experiences were any indication, they were chosen in some haphazard manner as the enlisted men and the non-coms. In essence, what you had at Breckinridge is a formation of the 75th were cadres and now are com, with a regular high school education at best. In comparison with the newly enlisted men with the higher education of at least 2 years of college and more. This was an inverse relationship, since the better educated personnel were receiving end of the orders and the lesser educated people were giving the orders and getting all the acknowledgement. Did you have to be have a high school education to get in the Army?
No.
So you didn't have to graduate?
Just take a test.
Take a test?
Medal test, yeah.
Okay, but no education needed.
No.
I wonder if it's like that today.
No, it's all merit system now. Merit system.
The other men felt as I did, that without any actual combat experience, our non-coms were not fulfilling their roles as leaders in an assault force. Without combat experience, they were so much of more than a window dressing. The enlisted men, with their missed opportunities for something better in the service, realized this and resented it greatly. I was beginning to revert to my feelings I harbored at Swift. I thought I was fortunate enough to be transferred out of it,
16 minutes.
something better, but I seemed as though I returned to the same ordeal. For the more I thought about it, the more I began to realize that the officers were acting in the same manner as the combat experienced and non-coms at Fort St. Houston. They were non-committal, aloof, and not part of our training process. I sensed that they knew something we were not aware of, and they're just biding their time and waiting for future developments. Did any of these guys go overseas with you?
No.
So they basically had a pretty
Well,
cushy,
when we were overseas, we split them all up.
so they basically had a very cushy job staying in the bases.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they never
It's all
seen
politics, it's all
so
politics.
they never seen any combat.
No.
Although there were no transfers as such, and either the officers or non-coms, especially the enlisted men, there was always a feeling that the present situation was fluid and subject to change at any time. So it's always changing, right?
Yeah.
Some of the men approached Lieutenant Conti while we were on a break and asked him point blank if he was going to stay with us when we went overseas. He stated that he would, as far as he knew. Did he ever stay with you?
He was gonna go.
Conti? He said he'll go overseas with you.
He lied.
He lied.
Yeah.
This proved to be partially correct, and the ramifications of the remark by Lieutenant Conti had far-reaching consequences. as it affected our lives. Our training progressed, and we began to undergo actual simulated combat conditions. One of these mock conditions was an infiltration course under the assimilated combat conditions. In this exercise, we were directed into trench-like path leading into a deeper one, in which we crouched down, waiting our turn to go over the top of the embankment in the path of a firing machine gun. So you would crawl and a machine gun would fly over your heads.
Yeah.
The frightening part was forcing yourself to go over the top of the mound and the hail of 30 caliber tracers and rounds spitting out of the barrel of the machine gun. 1 out of every 5 rounds was a tracer. Would a tracer kill a person?
Oh, yeah.
What was a tracer? Just like a lighted bullet?
Well, left the signal behind them. Smoke coming out of the back of them.
Why did they have tracers?
To see what they were shooting at.
I see. Did they use real bullets also?
Oh, yeah.
So if you looked up, that would have been it.
Yeah.
Did anyone get hurt?
No, because when they were down in the culvert, they got the biggest is getting over the hump, and the tracers are coming over, and the tracers are over maybe a foot over your head.
So no one got killed?
No, but you can't get up, you can't move around, you just hug the ground, get out of as fast as you can.
It must have been a scary situation.
Yeah.
Very scary. The frightening part was forcing yourself to go over the top of the mound in the hail of 30 caliber tracers.
Yeah, that was bad. You couldn't get over the mound.
And you had to get over the mound, right?
Yeah.
Did some guys panic?
No, I guess they got it. I don't know whether they stayed in there till it cooled down. They took off.
30 caliber tracers and rounds spitting out of the barrel of the machine gun. 1 out of 5 rounds was a tracer, and they were like red neon stripes.
Well, they had the machine gun anchored down though, it couldn't move.
Strips floating over your head, which added emphasis that these were live rounds and could kill you. We approached the ready position with our light packs and our individual weapons. The instructor told us to keep as low as possible and crawl through the entire course, which was about 200 yards. That's a long course.
Yeah, well then they had explosives to the ground.
Did anyone get hurt by them?
No.
Also, we were told to keep out of the craters scattered around the ground, as they were explosive charges in them and would go off at any time. The noise was deadening with several machine guns. It was more than one machine gun then, huh?
Yeah.
Several machine guns firing rapidly and the explosive charges going off. There were also smoke covering the entire course to make it more realistic. It was raining and the wind picked up considerably. As I went over the top, I hugged the ground as closely as possible. The tracers seemed frighteningly low, as I could hear and see them whirling menacing over my head. Visibility almost zero, I had a difficult time seeing and avoiding craters. I also had a hard time keeping up my momentum as I crawled. Since the ground had become saturated with rain, I tried to keep my weapon fairly dry and the muzzle free from mud, ready to fire as it would be inspected at the end of the course. So they inspected your weapon at the end of the course?
Yeah, dry, yeah.
Yours was dry, right?
Yeah.
Did some guys fail?
Yeah, because they got panicky, yeah.
Yeah. Several yards into the course, I completely soaked and covered with mud. My vision was blurred as I attempted to keep the mud out of my eyes. My only thought was to keep going and stay out of the craters. It seemed that every time I'd pass one of them, the charge would go off and I would get showered with dirt, rock, and debris. That crater could have killed you.
Yeah.
The sound was ear-shattering. Are you there? The sound was ear-shattering, and there was much shouting. It frustrated me considerably, as I could not make any of it out. I must have been crawling for about 10 minutes. It seemed like hours. When I saw up ahead the trench that we would crawl into to get out of the line of fire, I fixed my gaze on the trench and maneuvered myself around the depressions. As we got closer to the trench, I got a glimpse of the machine guns spitting out their deadly fire. The end of the course was much more terrifying than the beginning. Here, as we came closer to the guns, we would see and hear their destructive power. I also just visualized and feel several of the rounds penetrating my body. I was especially concerned about my head, which I thought would take the first hit. Although they were wearing steel helmets, they were no match for the armor piercing. So those bullets would go right through a helmet.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, I crawled to the trench with great sigh of relief, lay there in the mud, trying to collect my thoughts. Instantly, there was a sharp voice commanding me to move out of the trench and into the assembly area. All of us mingled around each other, relating our individual experiences and our great relief. Minutes, please? To have it.
No one's here.
Okay. They made it through the course without mishap. We were covered with mud completely, but I managed to keep my weapon, a carbine, Miss?
8.5.
A carbine, mud, free and ready to fire. We were trucked back to company area and giving time to shower and change clothes. Do you want to do some of the questions now?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
You feel up to it? You feel up to questions?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Jeckovich, can you eat, Mr. Jeckovich, can you use chopsticks when you eat?
No.
No. Did you go to a Chinese restaurant once in California?
Yeah, when we walked in, they were closing up. It was shut down for unsanitary.
It shut down?
Yeah, so we were lucky we didn't start eating.
So you're lucky you didn't eat.
Yeah.
You got turned down by the government pretty
Yeah.
quick, which was wonderful. Wow. Mr. Jeckovich, you actually show compassion for others.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Jeckovich, how modern are you?
How modern?
Modern are you?
Modern?
Yeah, like a modern, yeah.
Well, I don't keep up the clothes, I don't keep up the status, I don't keep up the gossip. I just lose my regular life and dressing and everything else.
Good answer. Mr. Jeckovich, are you a good tipper?
A tipper?
Yeah,
A good tipper?
yeah.
If I'm served well, and if his attitude is good, I give him fairly. I give him above average tip, yeah.
Good.
But I didn't go out to dinner.
Mr. Jeckovich, what do you think about the vagabond lifestyle?
No,
Someone has a vagabond lifestyle.
that's terrible, and that's unsteady.
Mr. Jeckovich, you still watch cartoons?
The what?
Do you still watch cartoons?
Watch what?
Do you still watch cartoons?
No, I don't watch cartoons at all.
You did as a boy, right?
Oh yeah.
You read comic books. Mr. Jeckovich, your great-granddaughter, Amber Nicole Jeckovich, is a full-time missionary. She travels the world. Would you ever consider being a missionary?
No, no.
Why not?
I had problems at home. I had to take care of my mother.
Mr. Jeckovich, you believe it's a dog-eat-dog world?
Oh yeah.
Mr. Jeckovich, do you buy from thrift stores?
I buy what?
Do you do buy from thrift stores, second-hand stores?
No.
Mr. Jeckovich, when you were a little boy, did you ever work as a babysitter?
Oh, yeah.
Who'd you babysit?
I sit for my sister, when she got married, I sit for her kids.
Okay. Wow.
Four and a half.
Mr. Jeckovich, during World War II, you dated 3 different people. How many people have you dated totally about?
Say again?
During World War II, you dated 3 different people. But total in your life, how many people have you dated about?
In my life?
Yeah, how many girlfriends about?
Oh, I'd say about 6, 7,
Okay,
or 8 maybe, probably.
okay. Mr. Jeckovich, how tech savvy are you?
Savvy?
Tech savvy about computers and
Not too good.
not too good. Mr. Jeckovich, during your lifetime, which you're almost 100 years old, has anyone ever approached you thinking that you're somebody else?
Oh, yeah.
Happens a lot?
No, once in a while, once in a while.
Mr. Jeckovich, you tend to live in the past, present, or future.
I'm living in the past and looking out for the future.
Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, when you were in high school, did you go to the prom?
Go to the prom?
When you were in high school?
Yeah, I went to one, yeah.
Which you think is better, violins or pianos?
Piano.
Did you take piano lessons?
I took organ lessons.
Organ. Did your brother take violin lessons?
He took violin, he couldn't play.
Couldn't play?
No. We didn't have any musical talent in the family,
Okay.
except who was that? My
Brother?
brother. Yeah, he played a saxophone or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Jeckovich, have you ever been close up to a tornado?
Close up to a tornado.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe a illusion for a tornado. A couple here. Yeah.
Okay.
But it either bypassed it or it didn't come through.
Mr. Jeckovich, do you have any family heirlooms?
Heirlooms?
Yeah, any family heirlooms?
I mean,
Like maybe like a special lamp that was passed down or anything.
I mean from
Your
my,
other family members that passed it down to you.
no.
No. Mr. Jeckovich, being you're almost 100 years old, what was the worst hairstyle you ever had?
Had a what?
What was the worst hairstyle in your life you ever had?
Hairstyle?
Yeah. That you ever had? Wasn't it like in the 70s you had long hair? And
No, I didn't.
when you were building the deck?
Huh?
When you were building the deck?
I had long hair because I was working 24 hours a day. I didn't have time to cut my hair. But no, I usually have short hair. I don't.
Short hair. Do you remember the barber you used to go to on Pine Avenue?
No.
Do you remember your barber you used to go to on Pine
Oh
Avenue?
yeah.
Did he do a nice job?
Oh yeah.
How much were haircuts back then?
$1.25.
Wow. Was he an older guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Italian guy.
Mr. Jeckovich, do you operate better during the day or night?
Do what?
What do you do better at the night or daytime?
What?
What would you work better at during the night times or the daytimes?
You work what?
Any type of work that you might do you do better at night or during the daytime?
Probably daytime.
Okay.
And I worked shift for all my stupid life.
Yeah. Mr. Jeckovich, have you ever demolished a wall of a building? Demolished a wall of a building?
No.
No. Do you think, Mr. Jeckovich, you think homeschooling is beneficial or harmful?
Homeschooling?
Homeschooling, yeah. Teach your kids at home or at school.
Well, I mean, depending on who the mother is, if she's educated or semi-educated, kids better go to school.